Aloha, kakahiaka, everybody. My name's Tamara. I'm the director here at Maui Nui Botanical Gardens. Going to get my slideshow going here. Thank you so much for your attention today. So let me see here. Are you folks seeing my notes? I'm going to swap. Yeah, okay. That better? All right. So I know probably a lot of you have been to this garden. This is where we're located, and you can see this aerial view right in the middle of town. This is a native plant garden that's located on a coastal dune system. You can see this is right in the middle of Keokuʻulani Park. It's just about 6 acres. And our mission statement is all about, what I like to do is just go straight to those last 3 words: discovery, education, and conservation. Discovery in that we're like a native plant landscape that has both indigenous and endemic plants of Maui County, as well as Polynesian introduced and canoe plants. So this is a place you can come. You can take an audio tour, which we just turned into an app, actually. So here's our old audio tour ones. There's ethnobotany tours you can do. We have lots of workshops and events. And our conservation program right now, a lot of this is seed storage. So I'm going to be telling you a little bit about that. The founder, Renee Silva, he was a groundskeeper when Maui Nui Botanical Gardens was the zoo. And probably all of you are too young to have actually visited it when it was the zoo, but it was a zoo landscape. He started planting native plants early in the 1970s. So landscaping with native plants continued because of his work. He was the one that inspired this project. And we've been experimenting with lots and lots of different species to see what will grow on this sandy coastal soil. And we've also witnessed, since I started out at the garden in 2001 as the nursery manager, we had to go to all these wild areas that were in coastal areas. And we can see a lot of these plant populations that I used to go and collect from have disappeared. So they may not be extinct, but they're what we call extirpated, means it's extinct in a certain location. And that's a lot of genetic diversity, which is, just like all of us are individually different from one another. All these individual plants are in the wild are different from one another because they all grew from seeds. And we need that kind of diversity for them to stay strong. So we do seed storage as a way of trying to conserve some of that diversity, because people who work, like some of the people that you just heard from, and people who work in watersheds and coastal areas trying to actually protect the plants and the animals that are in those areas, they sometimes have to control a lot of different threats like pigs, goats, even rats, even people. So they're trying to deal with a lot of different influences, weeds, things that can hurt and make those plants go extinct. So this buys them time. Seed storage is a really economical way to have a lot of that genetic diversity. So if you see these seeds in this picture, this is ohia lahua. And imagine a 100-foot ohia lahua tree coming from this tiny little seed that's like an eyelash. These are about 5,000 seeds pictured. So think about how many trees, how much land you need to preserve the diversity from this one tree. Seed storage in Hawaii is something that happens on all the islands, and on Maui, it only started in 2015 in this kind of a way. So what we do is we're collecting on partner sites. We're going out with land managers and people who have given us permission and doing wild seed collection. We're bringing it back to our office, and we're working on cleaning and counting and packaging, sorting, weighing the seeds so we know how many there are available for restoration and research. There's then the drying process where they have to be dried to a certain relative humidity so that they can survive the cold storage that they're going to go into. And they go into these packets, and the cold and dry is what extends the life of these seeds, sometimes for decades beyond what they would normally live. So these seeds belong to the land managers. They're used with their permission for restoration and research. And then we also have, like I said, canoe plants, and that's a whole other thing. So that's plants that, came on the first canoes and became, in a lot of cases, like these crop plants, kalo and ko and ava and maya. So a lot of these plants became unique varieties. And so they're not endemic specifically, but they're unique to Hawaii. They're only found here in Maui, or only found in the state of Hawaii. There used to be at least 300 Hawaiian kalo varieties alone, and a lot of them have been lost. These are different from seed-grown plants. they're not propagated by seeds, so they can't be conserved by seed storage. So they're propagated by cuttings that we can reproduce an individual plant over and over. So you can see there's some sugarcane, that's the Hanua'ula variety. And actually we're doing a plant giveaway today of this variety. If you are here on Maui and want to come pick up a Hanua'ula ko, you may come anytime until 4 o'clock. Then the Oniki sweet potato. We do these weekly plant giveaways so that these crop plants can be available to farmers and growers. And the more people that grow them, that's how we're going to keep them from going extinct. They got to be planted and used. We have a lot of workshops and events. We're having a co-workshop tomorrow about Hawaiian cultivars, and there's going to be a co-tasting. And here's some other upcoming workshops. Some of these are free, some of these are paid. There's a lot of different kind of Hawaiian cultural things that you can get into and learn about. And it's just like a 3-hour kind of a class taught by different practitioners. That's available on our website. But one of the things that I do and how I got all into this is, basically I just started as a landscaper. So I didn't have any Hawaiian cultural education. I was not even that interested in native plants, but I had been doing landscaping in Wailea. I had been doing all kinds of different manual jobs before that, farming, construction, production, greenhouse work. I came here from the mainland in 1994. And I went to college at 18 to become an English major, and I dropped out. So I didn't have a degree when I started doing all this stuff. I worked at Maui Nui Botanical Gardens in 2001 because I had some experience at a native plant landscape, and I became a nursery manager. I then went back to school in my 30s, got a degree in natural resources management and a BS, and came back to become the garden manager. And now I'm the executive director and started that seed storage program that we just talked about. I really appreciate having spent time as an employee doing each of the jobs that help this organization run. And now I'm sitting in the office and I'm working on relationships with people, but I did a lot of outdoor stuff. And I think that really helps to understand like your team and what do they need. So the best piece of advice I can probably give you for any kind of work in conservation is, and this is a little different from what other people were saying, but one thing that you should know is this is a lot of manual work. People are outside and, like you just heard, you're going to get red dirt up your nose and you need to go and experience that and see what that's like, because I think a lot of people avoid this kind of work thinking it's a little bit demeaning or maybe it's really difficult or dangerous, but this is important work. This is the kind of work that keeps society functional, not just gardening and horticulture, but all kinds of manual work. So even if you're young and you're just working a paid job that involves some physical work like landscape maintenance or anything involvement, some movement, that's really good experience to show a potential employer in conservation. We want to know that you like working outdoors, and you can get that experience volunteering, of course, by all of these different organizations. Our volunteering opportunities include our weekly weed and pot club. We weed for an hour and we pot up plants in the nursery for an hour. You can also contact us if you want to do service learning. We can do seed storage and even field trips to go collect seeds. We're trying to get more volunteers to do that in the next 3 years, specifically to go collect ohia. So if you would like to get some experience with that, you can call us at this number and we'd be happy to, work with you on that. But I just want to tell you, work outside. That's what's going to let you know if you like working outdoors. And it's a skill that you have to learn. It's not always easy to do when you first try it. So just because you maybe don't like it the very first time you do it, keep doing it. You have to give yourself time to get used to it. All right. If you have any questions for me, you can certainly email me. I'm always happy to try to connect people with different organizations so that they can get experience. Mahalo.